Okay, so we will start the session. We will start with the historical background. Okay, so since all are following this Lakshmikant, I'm also going in the same way. So we'll start with the historical background. Okay, now if you see, very important for prelims and mains, there is no point in talking about all those things. You will get around 15 to 20, maybe sometimes 25 question also from polity. And if you see mains paper 2, GS paper 2, 100 to 120 marks you can get from polity exclusive, and maybe 260 to 70 marks you can get from governance also. So very important area. And what we need to do, we will, I think most of you have already read about Lakshmikant and all. So in the session, in these sessions, that what we are going to do, you just need to follow the class. That is very important. And then I'll try to explain all these concepts, okay, and then supplement it with Lakshmikant. Also, what is more important for us, we need the current affairs. Okay, so whatever is possible I will do, and based on the exam and based on that important issues, you should be having very good knowledge about that. So there is no point in telling all these things, but I'm repeating, you just need to follow the class. All the concepts, everything in polity will be discussed in detail. All the important cases, important judgments we will see, and then follow Lakshmikant. All the facts which is related to polity, which is required for exam, that is there, and stick to this. Keep on revising. That is a most important thing that you need to do. Okay, along with current affairs, you need to have good knowledge about the current affairs, and through the current affairs only, basically you need to study polity. But in the class we will go in that order. Whatever, in fact, some of the topics like citizenship and all I won't be taking in the class. But otherwise, what is more important, and I will be following exactly the same pattern, similar pattern. In fact, the PDF that also that I am looking for here is directly from Lakshmikant. But the discussion will be in a different way, conceptually. And the notes, you just need to follow Lakshmikant. All of you have the textbook. So this is just for the formality. I have taken this PDF. Things will be easy. Okay. So what we will do is we will start with the historical background. So in this, we will discuss all the important acts. If possible, I will try to cover it today itself. We will discuss about 1773 Regulating Act, 1784 Pitt's India Act, and then 1813 Charter Act, 1833 Charter Act, 1853 Charter Act, and then 1858 the Good Governance Act. Okay, that also we will discuss. And then the most important ones that I feel is 1909 Minto-Morley reforms, 1919 Montagu-Chelmsford reform, or Government of India Act 1919. Okay, this is Indian Council Act of 1909, 1935 Government of India Act. So if possible, I'll try to cover all. The fact is, everything in detail is given in Lakshmikant, very bulky, too much of content is there. But the most important provisions from all these acts is what we can do in the class, not each and every point. Some of them are not relevant, they will not ask you from exam point of view. So we will not be touching those minute facts, but still you can read and you can understand, you can have an idea about that. This is going to be the most important one, because 60% of our constitution is actually drawn directly from 1935 Government of India Act. So if you see why this Indian constitution is so bulky, the reason is 60% is drawn from this Government of India Act 1935, and 1935 Government of India Act itself is very bulky. That is the reason why it's a huge, okay, it's so bulky. So this is what we are going to do today. I'll start with 1773 Regulating Act. All we will try to cover today itself, maximum. So in 1773 Regulating Act itself, if you see Lakshmikant, he may be talking about 6-7 points. But what is more important from this, maybe 2 points, is what we will be discussing in the class. Okay, guys, please turn off your mic, all of you. AB, please. So I'm not looking into this PDF now. We will see what is this 1773 Regulating Act, and then go to Lakshmikant, cover it up. Okay, I'll share you the PDF anyway. It is the same as that of Lakshmikant. So the first and most important one is, see, in Bengal, Bombay, Madras, 3 important presidencies, there were governors. So what happened in 1773 is, Governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal. Okay, so this is the most important point. along with a council. That means 4 executive members. So Governor General of Bengal plus 4 members. Okay, so that is the most important provision, the first provision. The first Governor General of Bengal was Lord Warren Hastings. Okay, and the 4 members, guys, some of these important facts that I'm discussing, which is not there in Lakshmikant, so you can take down these notes. Like 4 members are Richard Barwell, Philip Francis, George Monson, and John Clavering. Okay, so since these are the 4 first members, we need to know this. So Warren Hastings was the first Governor General of Bengal, and 4 council members. Decisions are taken on the basis of majority, and all these are there. Second one is a Supreme Court has to be established. Okay, so look into this, the Regulating Act, which is in 1773, which is having a provision of establishment of Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is established at Calcutta, known as Supreme Court of Calcutta, which was established in 1774. Okay, so these are the 2 important points that you need to know here. The Chief Justice name also I will tell you, Justice Elijah Impey. Okay, so 2 other justices was also there, not significant. So Justice Elijah Impey. Now remember, this Supreme Court is not the modern day Supreme Court. That you will see later when we discuss about 1935 Government of India Act. There is a provision for federal court. Okay, so this Supreme Court is for the trial of Europeans. I'm not getting into these details. We will just look into the facts. These are part of history. Okay, so these are the 2 important points that I consider from this. So we have discussed about this Executive Council, 4 members. Warren Hastings was the first Governor General. Now guys, this one, about this there is difference of opinion. It made the governors of Bombay and Madras presidencies subordinate to the Governor General of Bengal. So Lakshmikant is written like this, but the fact is, if you ask me, are they subordinate? Maybe to an extent subordinate, but in many ways they are not. For example, when it comes to the internal matters of Bombay, the Governor General of Bengal have no role. Similarly, when it comes to the internal matters of Madras, Governor General of Bengal have no role at all. Where when it comes to the internal matters. So in that context, if you ask me, are the Bombay Governor and the Madras Governor are subordinate to Governor General of Bengal? No way. They enjoy their autonomy in their areas when it comes to the internal matters. Make that point very specific. But when it comes to the external matters, what do you mean by external matters? External matters means, like, let's suppose you're signing a peace treaty or a war treaty, or any treaty with any other kingdom or Raja or Maharaja. Then if there is a difference of opinion between this governor and Governor General, or this governor and Governor General, then the Governor General will have the final say. So remember, when it comes to internal matters, no. But when it comes to external matters, if there is a difference of opinion, yes, the Governor General of Bengal will have the final say. And exactly this has happened when it comes to Marathas. After the second Anglo-Maratha war, I don't remember, second or third Anglo-Maratha war, there was a treaty with the Marathas which was signed by the Governor of Bombay. But Warren Hastings was not okay with that. He was not ready with that. So he came to Bombay, annulled the treaty because his word is final. Then when he went back, the Governor of Bombay signed the treaty again with Marathas, and he came back and he annulled the treaty. And obviously when he is in power, he is having the final law. Okay, so the question is, in what sense he wrote this, you need to understand now, and I hope you understood. But if the question, if it is in all matters, no. Okay, in case of external matters, yes. But in general, if some statement is given, now you need to take the weightage. Maybe you can say yes, that is the context in which he is using this. So I just want to clarify that also, and this point we have discussed. Now these are some minor points. Prohibited the servants to engage in private trade, to avoid corruption and all. Okay. Now the next one, Pitt's India Act. Here I think 3-4 are given. Okay, in Pitt's India Act also there are there are, okay, so there are 3 provisions. See, Governor General of Bengal plus 4 members. This is what we have discussed. Now the decision has to be taken on the basis of majority also. Okay, but the Governor General faced a lot of problem with respect to this 4 members, and he was not able to get the majority, and he was not able to implement this decision. So what happened? In Pitt's India Act, they tried to correct this mistake. Instead of 4, they have changed it to 3. Now the council is including Governor General plus 3 members instead of 4 members. So the total strength is 4. Okay. Now why it is done is because there is a possibility of equality. In case of this equality, Governor General will have a final say. That means now the Governor General need only 1 vote, 1 support to implement any of his decision. So that is the point. I'm not explaining too much about this. I hope you got the idea.
Sir,
Yeah.
yours is not clear, sir. Yours is not clear, sir.
Yeah, I will turn off my video. Maybe some bandwidth issues there. So I'll turn off my video and okay. Now my voice is clear. Can you just confirm it?
Sir.
Okay. Is it clear?
नहीं sir, अभी तो sir.
What about others?
सर वाईफाई यूज करना सर एक्चुअली फिर आपकी बात क्लियर नहीं हो पा रही सर.
What?
Sir, it is clear.
It is clear, sir.
Now for others it is clear. So it may be from your side. My side internet is good only.
Yeah, here also it's clear.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, it is not clear, sir.
No, I think that is from your side because for others it is clear.
Not clearly audible to us.
Yeah.
For a year, sir. Your class right now.
Can you just log out and log in again because for others it is very clear. Everybody is messaging that it is clear. So can you just log out and log in once again?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying, anyway, I'm turning off my video so that the bandwidth consumption will be less. Okay, so here Governor General of Bengal plus 4 became Governor General of Bengal plus 3. Guys, you don't want to get into the logic and details of this, but the reason is this. Now when it is 3, it is easy for the Governor General to get that majority because you see from this 3 member, you just need to get 1 support. 1 support plus Governor General is there. So you go 2, other side 2. Now you have a veto. Now, not veto, casting vote is there. Okay. So you can implement the decision. Second point is related to board of control. So they established a board of control in England with 6 members to regulate the affairs of East India Company in India. So you can see in every act the regulation keeps on increasing. As its name indicate, the first one, that is to regulate. This one, Pitt's India Act 1784, again the regulation is increasing. So here now board of control including 6 members where sitting in England. So these 6 members will sit in England and will regulate the affairs of East India Company. What about these members? They will sit along with the Governor General and will regulate. Now one more point I missed out is, that is not important from polity. This Governor General is appointed by the company. These members were appointed by the Crown or the Parliament. Okay, and through these 4 members they will regulate the Governor General. Now 6 more members, they were sitting in England and will regulate. That is a board of control. Okay, now the third provision, they have introduced a provision of recall. That means the Governor General is appointed by the company. Even though the Governor General is appointed by the company, now if the Parliament is not satisfied with the Governor General, the Parliament can recall all its members, these 4, including the Governor General. So the point here is, Parliament can recall any officials, including the Governor General, despite the fact that the Governor General is appointed by the company. So I repeat, Governor General of Bengal plus 4 became 3. Board of control was established. Now before in 73, there was a court of directors. That you can see 5th point.
Can you ask questions in between or
it will be better if you can ask towards the end.
Oh.
Or you can message also.
Sure, sir, no problem. We'll ask in the end.
Okay, so this one point, it strengthened the control of British government or over the company by requiring the court of directors. That's the governing body of the company to report its revenue, civil and military affairs in India. So court of directors now were supposed to, that is the governing body of the company. They were supposed to report to the parliament. See, the only thing you need to know is this name itself will tell you the objectives of the act. Regulating act, you will see the regulation. So here, this 4 members, executive council is regulating the governor general sitting in India. Again, they are requiring the court of directors to report. That is also regulation. Now here, in this second, the Pitt's India Act, Board of Control was established to control and regulate the affairs of East India Company in India. That is also, you can see the regulation is actually increasing. Okay, so that's about Pitt's India Act. All these are from, this is direct cut copy paste from the Lakshmikant only, these PDF. It is all covered in Lakshmikant. So I am discussing the most important points which was asked in exams and the potential to be asked. All are not important, like some numbers and all these are not that important. Okay, that's why we are skipping that, because historical background itself is part of your history, and I'm expecting that you might have covered in history. Even in my class, those students who have already attended, we have covered that. Here, if we focus on that, then it is going to take a lot of time. So the objective is that historical background, that is just as the beginning. So in one session we have to complete. I don't think that now I can do that today. Okay, now the next one is 1813 Charter Act. I will be discussing the 2 most important points here. Okay, the first important point is it ended the monopoly of the company. Okay, now monopoly of the company, when you're talking about the company enjoying the monopoly in India over a long period of time. So they started bribing the parliamentarians and they enjoyed this monopoly. But now what happened, this industrialization and more industries, more capitalist is emerging in England. They are also looking for new markets and emerging markets, and they are seeing India as a great opportunity and market. So they also want to come to India. They also want to trade with India. So they again made it happen. This is 1813 Charter Act. Okay, so they with their influence, this act was passed, ended monopoly of East India Company except in 2 items. So in that 2 items they enjoy the monopoly: trade in tea product and trade with China. So these 2, except in these 2, the monopoly ended. Okay, that means what? Anybody can now come and establish trade with India. The second one was related to education. They started some effort towards education. So you see, education, when we discuss about, there are certain milestones. This is the first one, 1813. Then you will see something in 1835, Macaulay Minute. Then you will see something in 1854, Wood's Dispatch. Then 1882, like that it will go. Okay, so with respect to education, means the company was directed to spend rupees 1 lakh for the purpose of betterment of education, okay, in those areas where they have control. So these 2 are very important. Then there are minor points like the Christian missionaries were allowed to preach in India. Okay, which was not allowed till then. So 1813 onwards they were allowed, like that. So these are what you can see here: abolish the trade monopoly, except in these 2, trade in tea and trade with China. Okay, so except in this 2, however, it continued the monopoly of the company over these 2. Except in this 2, however, it asserted the sovereignty of the crown, allowed the Christian missionaries, and again with respect to Western education. The actual point here is it provided for the spread of Western education among the inhabitants of British territories in India. The real crux of this point is the company was directed to spend rupees 1 lakh for the purpose of betterment of education, not necessarily Western education. That will come in more specific way in the Macaulay Minute. For the betterment of education in those areas where they have control. That means British territories in India. Okay. Then it authorized the local government in India to impose taxes on person, and if you are not paying, you can punish. All these are there. Next one, 1833 Charter Act. Okay, so I'm going faster. Whatever important points you need to note down, please note down. Everything is there. You can read and you can understand once you attend the session. And what I'll do is I'll give you the videos of all these. You will get that. Within 1 week, you will get access to the videos in the application. So you don't want to worry about that. Even if you miss a session, you will get the complete recordings. Okay. So 1833, now what happened is Governor General of Bengal became Governor General of India. Now, When he became Governor General of India, now in all matters he is becoming superior. Okay, now here you can see in some text, if you read this, this will actually show the centralization tendency. This is centralizing the governance and everything. And this centralizing tendency, which is actually started from 1773, when the Governor General of Bengal was given more power, and it is maximum now, the centralizing. Okay, so Governor General of Bengal became Governor General of India. Yes, guys, these PDFs are nothing but Lakshmikant only. I will definitely give you, I'll share in the WhatsApp group, and I will also give in the application. It is Lakshmikant only. Anyway, all of you have to have one copy of Lakshmikant for sure. It is expected. Okay, but I will definitely give you. Yeah. Governor General of Bengal became Governor General of India. So now, before, what was the situation? Governor General of Bengal plus 4 member, which was reduced to 3 in PITS India. Now they will increase to 4 again. One more they will add. And this new member is actually known as law member. Okay, what is his role? His role is basically to advise the Governor General in the matters of law. Who was the first law member? Lord Macaulay. Okay, who was the first Governor General of India? Lord William Bentinck. So these are few facts which you need to remember. Okay, now apart from this, then they have introduced something related to civil service also. Now they have made a provision that there should not be any discrimination, no discrimination in the recruitment of civil services on the basis of sex, color, creed, place of birth, etc. So they have tried to make something like this civil service open to the Indians through this. But technically, after 1854 only, they will actually throw it open to the Indians. I will discuss that in 1853 Charter Act. Okay. So no discrimination should be made in the recruitment of civil service on the basis of sex, color, creed, place of birth, etc. So that is what you have written here. The first point is related to the Governor General of India. The first one, Lord William Bentinck, attempted to introduce a system of open competition for civil servants. Like you will not be barred on any of these related issues. Even the Governor General was given exclusive legislative power. That is why I've told you this is making it more centralized now through this Charter Act of 1833. So things which are started in 1773, the centralization tendency is now maximum, and that will not be there when it comes to 1853. Okay, so you will see 1853, the first provision. It separated for the first time the legislative and executive function of Governor General's Council. It provided for addition of 6 new members called legislative councillors to the council. In other words, it established separate Governor General's Legislative Council, which came to be known as Indian Legislative Council. So they have asked this multiple times. They have introduced the Central Legislative Council or Indian Legislative Council in 1853. This legislative wing of the council functioned as a mini parliament, adopting the same procedures as the British Parliament. Thus, legislation for the first time was treated as a special function of the government, requiring special machinery and special process. Again, here is where the open competition system was starting. Okay, the covenanted civil service. What do you mean by that? There is two types, covenanted and uncovenanted. The higher level bureaucracy, that is what the covenanted, that has come through the laws. Okay, so uncovenanted, that is at the lower level. So covenanted civil service was thus thrown open to the Indians also. And then Macaulay Committee was appointed in 1854. Okay, now this point is again very important. If you see 1813 Charter Act, it is not there in Lakshmikant. It is made it very clear that another 20 year, another act will come to talk about the East India Company's role in India. Again, in 1833 also, they extend this for another 20 years, their rule in India. Okay, but here, if you see, it extended the company's rule and allowed to retain the possessions, but it did not specify any particular period. So what I've told you in the previous case, it was like 20 year in 1813, another 20 year in 1833, but here that is not specified. What does that mean? Any time now the parliament can take over the control. That is what it means. Okay. So what is more important here? This one, this Indian Legislative Council, and this open competitive exam, and this one also. Local representation was introduced. Okay, so 4 members were appointed by the local governments of Madras, Bombay, Bengal, and Agra. Not that important. 1858. What is more important in 1858? This is a act for better governance or good governance in India. So in this, we have discussed about Governor General of India so far. Now this Governor General of India, along with this Governor General of India, they have created a post of Viceroy. Okay, so understand here, the Governor General of India, it is not replaced with Viceroy. Governor General of India is there. Along with him, parallelly, this post is also created. Okay, so Lord Canning was the first Viceroy. It ended the system of double government by abolishing Board of Control and Court of Directors. So we have discussed about Court of Directors from India, as the governing body of East India Company. Board of Control we have discussed where? In 1784 Pitt's India Act, 6 members, they are sitting in England regulating the affairs of East India Company, right? Now, through this act, East India Company is no more there. Parliament have taken the complete control. So they have taken the governance. So there is no need to regulate the East India Company. So there is no need of Board of Control. So this was abolished. No, I haven't read that. What it says, I didn't read this actually. Yeah, I didn't read this. I just incorporated this PDF only. So it changed the
says change the designation.
Yeah, it is not like this. So it is like this only. The Governor General of India post continued, okay, and the Viceroy post is also continued. For example, now onwards, if you see, now here onwards, the Lord Lytton is the Governor General of India and Viceroy also. Ripon, Governor General of India and Viceroy also. Okay, similarly, these Curzon, all whoever is now going to come, they are Governor General of India and Viceroy. Okay, see, as a Viceroy, this is how now it is going on. Let's suppose this is India, this is British India. Okay, now Viceroy, what is his job? His job is, he is basically a representative to the Queen, okay, including these are princely states, including the princely states and the British India. That means he's a representative of the Queen of total India. Okay, that is the job of Viceroy. As a Governor General, he is the head of governance in India, or he is the person who's responsible for governance in British India, because they have control in this area. That is what the British India, mainly this Bengal, Bombay, Madras, that area. So princely states, they don't have any control. So the Governor General of India do not have any control over princely states. So Governor General will rule this, okay. As a Viceroy, he is a representative of total India, including princely states as well as British India. Now, why they have made this? Otherwise, if you see, if you are telling that these princely state kings and all, this Governor General of India itself is your representative, then they will feel insecure. This person anytime can attack us also, like that. And this Queen have already made a promise that there won't be any further annexation and all. So why you need to create an insecurity? That is the reason why they have created a separate post to make him as the representative to the Queen. Okay, so that is the position of Viceroy, but in fact they kept the same person as the Viceroy as well as the Governor General of India. So no need to be confused. It is not a change the designation. Both is there. So the same person will be acting as the Governor General as well as Viceroy. Okay, last Governor General, Mountbatten, like that. Viceroy, Mountbatten. Yeah, you see here. Viceroy was the direct representative. Okay, that is written here. But as a Governor General of India, what he will do? He will be the person who is responsible for governance in British India. Okay, So Governor General of India, he is responsible for governance in British India. As a Viceroy, he is the representative of the Crown. When I say representative of the Crown, it includes the British India and the princely states. But Governor General, only British India. I hope the difference is clear now. Okay, so no need to be confused with this. Actually, I haven't read. These things I've done already from different other textbooks, so I didn't go through this Lakshmikant. But the important points you can go through that. That is the reason why I've given it here. Okay. Again, Indian Council Act of Rajagopalachari. Okay. Yeah. From British side is what I've told. Indian Council Act of 1861. Now here, two most important ones are a process of decentralization. Okay, so by restoring the legislative powers to Bombay and Madras presidencies. So when it was centralized, I've told you 1833, right? It was centralized. When it was started? From 1773. From 1773 onwards, we are discussing who's subordinate, who's superior, right? I hope you remember that. And I've told you Warren Hastings is superior or subordinate, but not in all ways. Something started in 1773, almost culminated in the centralization in 1833. Now the decentralization started. That means now the Bombay and Madras presidencies are getting the legislative power. Do you remember? I've told you already that legislative powers of Madras and Bombay have taken away and given to the Governor General in 1833. Okay, so yeah. Now the portfolio system, this also they have asked multiple times. Okay, so here does it reverse the centralizing tendency that started from Regulating Act and reached its end in 1833. The policy of legislative devolution resulted in the grant of almost complete internal autonomy to the provinces in 1937. So here the decentralization starting, and you will see when we discuss about 1935 Government of India Act, the complete autonomy will be given to the provinces. Okay, so that's how this decentralization is getting almost complete. These are minor points, guys. These it empowered the Viceroy to issue ordinances without concurrence of Legislative Council, and it will have a 6 months validity backup like that. So all these minor points, understand that it is impossible for us to discuss in the class. It is expected that you will go through, but what is required, the main concepts, what is more important, we are covering it in the class. Okay. Now here, this one, 1909 Minto-Morley reforms. Okay, the Council Act of 1909. This is very important. Now here, in the objective, it is made very clear that not to establish self-governing institution in India. What is that word? Not to establish. Why? Why I'm saying so is because the demand of nationalists is what? Establish the self-governing institution in India, like the other English colonies, like white colonies like Australia, New Zealand, etc. Right? That was a demand, but they have made it very clear that not to establish. Why I'm making it very specific is because when I discuss about 1919, I will change it and I will tell you to establish the self-governing institution. So then this comparison will be easy. So keep this word in mind, not to establish self-governing institution. Okay. Now we will discuss the important points here, not all, but the most important ones. What is the most important one when it comes to 1909? Can anyone tell me what is the most important one?
Communal representation.
Communal representation. Okay. Communal representation. That's the most. There are many other things also, but the most important one, 1909, when you discuss about that, is separate electorate. For the first time, separate electorate for the Muslims. Okay, to meet the demand of the Muslim League. So I'm not explaining what is separate electorate, what is joint electorate, what is reservation, and all these concepts at this point of time. If it requires, anyway, it is coming in polity later also. At that time, we will discuss. So here, I'm not explaining what is separate electorate. Okay, or see here, separate electorate means what? Muslims will, if it is for Muslims, only Muslims will contest and only Muslims will vote. Okay, joint electorate with reservation, like what you see in the Panchayat Raj and all, right? So you will be giving reservation to the women, and they will contest election, and everybody will vote. So that is different thing. That is joint electorate with reservation. But here it is separate electorate. Why separate electorate is given? Why separate electorate was demanded? Even in the Muslim majority area also, they were demanding separate electorate, but that was not granted. So here, separate electorate for Muslims. Okay. Now, second one, it is actually for the first time, the majority in the legislative council at the provincial level, Indians became the majority. Okay. So I'll put it in this way. For the first time, Indians were to be in majority in the legislative council at provincial level. What does this mean? When I say majority, means they are more than 50%. Who? The Indians are more than 50% now. But this was the demand of the Congress, but still they were unhappy. The reason why they were unhappy is because, let's say there are 100 in total. Now, more than 50% means what? Let's say 60. Okay, out of the 60 were Indians, and this 40 were others. But within the 60, there are two types: elected and nominated. Okay. Now, what I told you is the Indians are in majority, and this is what the demand of the Congress. And first time Indians are in majority, so they should be happy. But why they are not happy? Out of the 100 members, just for explaining, I'm taking it as 100. Let's suppose Indians are 60, the others, English, is 40. So here the majority, right? But within the 60, there is elected and nominated. Now the problem here is elected members will be 40, this will be 20. Okay, now what will happen? Nominated members, they will be loyal to whom? They will be loyal to the English, right? So the problem is when any decision making is coming, these group will be together. So they will make the majority, 60. And these guys again will just have 40, cannot do anything. So the demand of Congress was actually not majority. The demand was actually effective majority. So here what is the problem? Majority is there, but not effective majority, or not elected members are not in majority. That was the problem here. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now the third point is no right to vote for women. Okay, now again the fourth point is voting rights over budgets were not granted, but they can discuss and all that is there, but voting rights over budget is not granted. So these are the four important points. Apart from that, some other points are given like this. This one is again important. I missed this point. It provided for the first time for the Association of Indians with the Executive Council of the Viceroy and the Governors. What is this Executive Council? We discussed right from 1773, Governor General of Bengal plus 4, 1784, Governor General of Bengal plus 3, 1813, again plus 4, and that is increasing anyway. So now, for the first time, Indians were to be incorporated in the Executive Council of Viceroy, and Satyendra Sinha was the first Indian to join, and he was the law member. Who was the first law member that I have discussed before 1833? Lord Macaulay.
Macaulay.
Yeah. So here communal representation, and Lord Minto is known as father of communal electorate. Guys, all these you can read. You can ask questions, resolutions on budget, but you don't have right to vote on budget. Okay. So, okay. I hope you can understand this point now. It retained the official majority in the Central Legislative Council, but allowed the Provincial Legislative Council to have non-official majority. That means I've told you in the province, the Indians are in majority, but they are still not able to. That majority means not elected members, right? So Indians are in majority, but mainly the others are actually supporting, the nominated members are actually supporting the same. Now the next one, 1919 Government of India Act. 1919 Government of India Act, very important. It is also known as Montagu-Chelmsford Reform. Okay, So Government of India, what is the objective? I've already told you. Here in the objective itself, it is made very clear that it is basically to establish the self-rule in India. That means self-governing institutions in India. So the first time they are accepting this, okay? So to establish self-rule in India. But when and all, that date is not specified. We are not concerned about that here. We will be only looking into the proposals or the changes, okay? What is the most important one here? 1919. What is the most important one here?
Subjects, separation of power.
You mean to say diarchy or what? No, this is more important.
Separation of subjects.
Yeah, but this diarchy is more important, okay? So diarchy was introduced at the provincial level. 1935, you will see this will be introduced at the central level, okay? Now, what do you mean by diarchy? What do you mean by archy? Archy means rule. Monarchy means rule of one. Diarchy means rule of two. So here, who are the two? Indians as well as the English. So this is what you mean by rule of two. Now, how this is going to happen? It is going to happen like at the provincial level, right? So in the provincial level, there will be some elected Indians. They will form the ministries. Okay, so elected Indians, they will form the ministries, and some of them will become the ministers, and they will make laws on one list. That is what? Transferred list. Okay, so these are like the not that significant ones, like education, health, local government, etc. So upon transferred list, these ministers, the elected Indians, will make the law. What about the other? There will be a governor who will be appointed by the viceroy, like governor in states, like appointed by the president. Here also governor in all states, all provinces, appointed by viceroy. Now there will be a reserve list. So what are the two lists under diarchy? Transferred list and reserve list. So ministers will control the transferred list and will make laws upon that. Who will make law on the reserve list? The governor, who was appointed by the viceroy. This is what I mean by diarchy or rule of two. Okay, so the most important law and order, taxation, budget, and all these are coming under the reserve list. So that is why actually the nationalists were unhappy with this provision of diarchy and these two lists. The elected Indians, they will form the ministries. Based on this, these are proposals. Okay, so the elections, the Congress actually boycotted this election, and then that has to be discussed in history. These are proposals. So based on 1919, whether the Congress have to contest election and form ministries or not, there were debates, and Congress decided that they are not going to form. And then there were these who was that party? Not Khadar party, Swaraj. What is that party? They have formed they have won the election, and they have tried to form that. So that is part of history that we don't want to get into that. Okay, so these are the proposals: transferred list and reserve list. Diarchy means rule of two, Indian as well as English. The most important ones will be with the English. Okay. Okay, some of you have this confusion. Diarchy, when I say rule of two, this is not the central government and state government. That is different. That is federalism. That I will discuss in detail. What is federalism? What is the center-state relation, and everything we will discuss in detail. Here, it is not center-state. Here, at the provincial level, again two set. Okay, reserve and transfer list. This is existence of two government at the same level. How can you understand the difference? Same level, two government setup. This is what diarchy. Existence at two government at different level. What is that? That is what federalism. What is that? Center and state. Obviously, center and state, that is different. No, what we follow. So different level, different rule. That is federalism. But this is at the same level. Which level? Provincial level. One by these elected members and one by governor. That is what diarchy. So no need to have any confusion. Some of you have this confusion that federalism From which act? 1919, 1935. Some of you think that diarchy is connected to rule of two, so it is connected to federalism, and you will mark 1919. Actually, federalism, federal structure, federal feature is from 1935. I'll discuss now that. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. Now, in the previous one, I have told you women have no right to.
Sorry, sir, one doubt here.
Uh,
Sir, so you mean when you're talking about this provincial level, it means there is no like British India. You're calling British India as provincial. Okay, can I say this, sir?
no. This is British India only. I'm talking about British India.
British India is provincial. You are saying this.
These Bombay province, Madras province, all these are different provinces.
Okay, so different from, but there is no central government. This is what you're saying.
No, there is no such separation like centralist and this is not there. This is at the provincial level is what we are discussing. At the provincial level, rule of two. And all these are different provinces, no? The Bombay, Madras, and all these are different provinces.
Okay, sir, but it's
So
still like
for the provinces, this is applicable. And in 1937, you will see at the provincial level, they will give autonomy. So this will be abolished and this will be replaced at the central level.
okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Now,
sir.
women, when it comes to women, in the previous one, I've told you there is no right to vote, but now in this, right to vote was granted to women. So, first time when women got the right to vote in 1919. But remember, is it based on adult suffrage or is it universal? No, it is not based on adult suffrage, it is limited suffrage. No, which power? Oh, Bengal will be more powerful. In what way you're asking, I don't know. So maybe in Bengal, more areas, and it is close to Delhi because of that. Okay. So 1919, women got right to vote in 1919. Then what about separate electorate? It actually continued. Okay. For Muslim, even though there were Lucknow Pact and all, but it reiterated and it is actually continued. And in fact, they have also granted a separate electorate for some others also, like Sikhs and Christians. Okay, so separate electorate was granted for them. In the previous one, I've told you at the provincial level, Indians in majority, but not elected Indians. Now here, what will happen? Here, elected Indians will come in majority. Okay, so that demand for Congress was now getting okay here. Then some other provisions like direct elections introduced, High Commissioner for India, all these are there. Let's look into this. Can you see about bicameralism? I have read this somewhere, but I don't remember. These are minor points only, like bicameralism.
Bicameralism is there in 1919, sir.
Yeah, then it is at the central level.
Yeah.
Third point, yeah. Yes. Okay. Bicameralism at the central level.
Yeah.
Okay, so here at the central level and here at the provincial level, right? So this is at the provincial level.
Should be, yeah.
Okay, so that is not that significant. I just want to mainly talk about this transfer to different list and what is diarchy. Direct elections were introduced. Yeah, this I have discussed. And then communal representation was extended. Now for extended to Sikhs and Indian Christians and Anglo-Indians. Okay, so High Commissioner, this one is also important. Public Service Commission. And based on that, Central Public Service Commission was set up. Okay, so just go through these minor points. We will not be able to complete all these points in the class. So that is the reason why I've told you to go through the points. This is exactly from the Lakshmikant only. So it is not that something is added. In fact, I have not gone through all these small points from Lakshmikant. That's why I'm not able to explain that. Okay, so here, when it comes to this one, 1935 Government of India Act, very important because from here only the Constitution, our main Constitution is actually drawn from Government of India Act. Most of the features of Government of this Indian Constitution is actually from 1935 Government of India Act. Just 1 minute, guys. Okay, So I'll tell you the crux of this Government of India Act, and then we can look into this Lakshmikant also. We can compare it. So 1935, when we discuss about at the provincial level, what was the situation now? Diarchy, right? Now what will happen? Diarchy will be abolished at the provincial level. So autonomy will be granted. I've told you from 1861 onwards, this decentralization started. The centralization tendency, which was started from 1773, which was reached at its peak in 1833, and then decentralization started, which will culminate at this level. So here at the provincial level, the full autonomy is given. Okay, so now there is no more reserve and transferred list, because this diarchy is already abolished. There is no rule of two. The elected Indians, they form the ministry and they will control. So autonomy is given. Okay, so even with respect to budget also, like 40% control is given over that. This is for the first time that they are doing. Okay, so now what will happen with this diarchy now? They will give the power slowly and gradually, right? So anything they will first check at the provincial level, then at the central level. So diarchy first checked at the provincial level in 1919. Now they will keep it at the central level. So when it is abolished at the provincial level, central level, what happened? Diarchy was introduced. So central level, now there is reserve list and transferred list. So who will handle this transferred list? It is the elected representatives. The elected representatives who form the ministries, like 1937 elections were held and they formed the ministry. So they will do that. Okay. What about this reserve list? Earlier it was governor. Now who will handle this now? Reserve list at the central level?
Viceroy.
Right? Viceroy or Governor General of India, both are same. So Viceroy will handle this. So it is exactly the similar one. Same. There is nothing different. Two list and rule of two, Indian and English. So Viceroy will handle here, and here it will be the Indians. Okay. So, but the most important one, the most important point here is you will see the biggest devolution of power. Where? At the provincial level. So you can see slowly they are giving power to the Indians. Now this one actually proposed a federal structure. That's the second point. Federal structure. This is for the first time. So I've told you 1919, don't be confused with diarchy with the federalism. Both are entirely different. When I talk about federal structure, at the different level, rule of two. Okay, so central government and state government. That is what you mean by rule of two at the different level. Same level rule of two is what diarchy. So now federal structure was proposed, and three lists also they have introduced. Okay, central list, that mean the union list, then the state list or the province list, and the concurrent list. Where concurrent list at the center and the state can make laws. Okay, later in the 7th schedule of Indian Constitution, you will see this. That is what we are actually going to discuss in the coming sessions also. So central list, it will come related to foreign policy, army. The central will make legislations. When it comes to state list, all these agriculture, education, and all those matters, they will make the law. Similarly, concurrent list also will be there. Apart from this federation, then the bicameral legislature at the 6th province. Then there will be a provision for the federal court. Then there will be a provision for federal and provincial public service commission, or even a joint public service commission, like that. So there are some other important provisions also. What is the most important one? Most important one is diarchy at the center, and almost total devolution of power, maximum devolution of power at the provincial level. Provinces were given or granted autonomy. Okay. Let's quickly look into this. Federation was proposed. So three lists. Guys, you don't want to remember all these. You cannot remember. In fact, even you will be confused with the there also. Indian Constitution you need to remember, but not this one. Provincial autonomy. I hope you understood this. But diarchy is there at the center. So adoption of diarchy at the center. Okay. Now communal representation was extended. Even though this Pune Pact and all was there, but it was extended to the scheduled caste. Okay, and now Reserve Bank of India, Federal Public Service Commission, Provincial Public Service Commission, Joint Public Service Commission, Federal Court. So guys, I know that we were not able to complete each and every point, but all those minute points you can read today itself and you can cover that. And most of the students are always facing problems with respect to these acts, either from history point of view or from polity point of view. That's the reason why I've covered it in the beginning itself. So this part is covered. Now read 1 or 2 times and things will be clear. Then we will start with the constitution tomorrow. So we will discuss the basics, like we will discuss about Constituent Assembly. We'll talk about objective resolution, then the basics, and day after tomorrow onwards, we'll start with preamble and we'll enter into the constitution. Okay. Any doubts?
Okay. So Indian Independence Act of 1946, is it important?
Or do you want me to discuss that? Just go through that. There is nothing.
Yeah, we go through that. Just ask
because if it is history sessions, I could have discussed. But in polity, do you think that is required? Because why this is discussed? Because how the constitution is coming, and mostly, in fact, I would have discussed only 1935. Independence Act is not. It is there in Lakshmikant anyway. Just go through that.
In mains, do we get questions based on this, sir? In polity?
In polity, nobody will ask you this, but polity they can ask you from 1935. In how much Indian constitution depending on, or is it a cut copy paste of 1935 of India Act? Like that, those kind of questions you will get. So once you know the provisions, you can say some. Now, when I discuss about constitution, I'll tell you most of the things are borrowed, but we have made some changes. Even the parliamentary form that we are adopted and that we are following, it is slightly different than the Britain. We will discuss that. So it's not we have borrowed significantly, but it's not complete cut copy paste.
Right.
Okay. So we will stop here, guys. See you tomorrow.
Sir,
Thank you.
hello. Sir, what is casting vote?
Casting vote means when there is an equality, there is a. I hope you have confusion between veto and casting vote. Like what I've told you is there is an equality. Okay, in this case of equality, the Governor General will have the power to go with one. That is what casting vote. In case of veto, it's like Governor General on one side and all the other 3 were on the other side. So here, even though 3 members are saying something, you can veto. Whatever you say will go, but with proper recordings and proper reasons, etc. That's what veto. Casting vote is generally used when there is an equality and when you're getting stuck. Yeah, Gaurav.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Hello. Yeah, sir. If it is asked that when was the exams first time introduced for the civil services, is it in 1833 or 1854?
Actually, after 1854, and that I need to check with respect to that.
Actually, it's given in 1833 that there will be no discrimination on the basis of.
There should not be any discrimination in the recruitment of civil services based on safeguard. That is there.
Lakshmi, and it says, sir, it is negated after it is denied by the Court of Directors. It was negated.
It is written in Lakshmi, right? It is denied by Court of Directors, but then it was reintroduced in 1853.
Reintroduced in 1853.
But when Indians started writing the exam, that I need to cross check. I don't know exactly.
And sir, also in case of parliamentary forms, when this separate electorate was introduced in history sessions, we were taught like it was also for Hindu zamindars and this
then
Chamber
some
of Commerce.
Other class Chamber of Commerce, like that it is there. Yes.
Yeah, but were there direct elections for that with limited suffrage, or only nominations were there? Like in the 1919, it was said that in 1919 the direct elections were introduced for the first time, but in 1909 also there was separate electorate.
That limited suffrage. It is limited suffrage. It is not universal adult suffrage. Limited suffrage based on election is there. Hardly 1% of the Indians will get the right to vote. That too based on this education and tax and land wealth. It is limited suffrage.
But votes were allowed to cast, right? The direct elections.
Yes.
Okay.
But only few Indians can have the right to vote.
Yes.
So what exactly was the separate electorate? So only if it's for 6, only 6 can elect their
Only
representative.
6 can contest and 6 can vote. If here only Muslim means Muslim can contest, Muslim can vote. Otherwise, what will happen is, see, this is, you take this case. Even in the Muslim majority area, so if you take Muslim majority area, a Muslim, say, let's say 40% are Hindu and 60% is a Muslim. So there's a Muslim majority area, and you blindly think that the Muslim will win. But that's not the happen. For example, Muslim is contesting election, a Hindu is contesting election. Out of the 60%, it is not all have the right to vote. No, limited suffrage. Maybe 10% will have the right to vote because it is based on education. Muslims are very poor in education and in land wealth also. So they don't have much right to vote. Out of this 40%, maybe 20% will be having the right to vote. So even though they are in minority, they can win. So separate electorate is justified in that way. Okay, guys. So see you tomorrow.